Diversity of thought via different thinking styles. Have you ever noticed how the same problem can spark completely different reactions depending on who is looking at it? I have seen that when people struggle to collaborate, it's usually not because they disagree on the facts. It's because they're thinking in completely different ways. Could it be that the key to truly effective problem solving isn't about getting people to agree, but about making space for multiple perspectives to coexist? In my experience, the most powerful discussions happen when a mix of logic-driven, detail-oriented, big-picture, and emotionally aware thinkers are in the same room. Isn't it obvious that when only one style of thinking dominates, something crucial gets overlooked? The planners want structure, the visionaries want possibilities, the pragmatists want action, and the deep thinkers want meaning. What if, instead of seeing these differences as obstacles, we use them as leverage? Could it be that true innovation happens when people are forced to integrate viewpoints they wouldn't normally consider? And isn't it fascinating how people tend to assume that their way of thinking is the right way? I have seen teams struggle, not because they lack skill, but because they don't realize how differently they process information. Have you noticed how some people need structure before they can think creatively, while others need creativity before they can commit to structure? What if the real key to collaboration wasn't just about communication, but about understanding the cognitive rhythm of the people you work with? I've also seen that bias towards certain thinking styles is a real issue. The loud, fast, and confident voices often dominate, while the quieter, more reflective thinkers are ignored until it's too late. Could it be that the best solutions aren't the ones that come the fastest, but the ones that come from the widest range of perspectives? What if problem solving wasn't a competition of ideas, but a collaboration of thought processes, each playing a unique role in shaping a richer, more complete solution? And then there's the question of how to actually bring these differences together. I have seen that when people are forced to work outside their comfort zones, when a big picture thinker has to explain their vision to a detail-oriented planner, or when a logic-driven analyst has to work with an intuitive problem solver, something incredible happens. They start to see the gaps in their own thinking. They begin to appreciate perspectives they once dismissed. Could it be that the fastest way to expand someone's intelligence isn't through learning new information, but through forcing them to integrate with a mind that works completely differently from their own? So the real question is this: what if we stopped expecting people to think the same way, and instead designed problem-solving spaces that thrive on diversity? Could it be that the reason some teams struggle isn't because they don't have the right skills, but because they haven't figured out how to harness their differences? And if that's true, isn't it worth asking, what would happen if we stopped trying to align people's thinking and started learning how to let different thinking styles build on each other? Diversity of thought. Why every thinking style matters in problem solving. Have you ever noticed how people approach the same problem in completely different ways? Some dive straight into logic and facts, while others focus on how people will feel about the outcome. Some want to see the big picture, while others need to break it down into steps before they can even begin to process it. I have seen that the most frustrating moments in meetings don't come from a lack of intelligence, but from the fact that people are thinking on completely different wavelengths without realizing it. Could it be that the key to solving problems effectively isn't just about getting the smartest people in the room, but about getting the right mix of thinking styles? I have seen that when a group is made up of just one or two dominant perspectives, solutions become narrow, repetitive, and incomplete. Isn't it obvious that if only big picture thinkers are involved, the solution will lack practical execution? And if only detail-focused thinkers are engaged, the team might get stuck perfecting small parts without ever creating a larger vision? What if the most holistic solutions emerge only when every thinking style has a seat at the table? When the abstract, the practical, the analytical, and the emotional are all considered together? Every personality type in the Myers-Briggs framework has something essential to offer. Intuitive types, N, focus on possibilities, innovation, and long-term impact, while sensing types, S, ensure that facts, real-world data, and feasibility are accounted for. Thinking types, T, prioritize logic, efficiency, and structure, while feeling types, F, emphasize values, human dynamics, and ethical implications. Have you ever noticed how conflict in problem solving often arises because these different styles clash instead of complementing each other? What if, instead of arguing over who is right, we used each perspective as a piece of the larger puzzle? In my experience, the best problem-solving sessions don't happen when one person dominates the discussion, but when all perspectives are actively engaged. The ENTPs and ENFPs spark creative discussions, pushing for bold new ideas. The INTJs and INFJs refine these ideas, ensuring they have strategic depth. The ESTJs and ETHs bring structure and execution plans, making sure solutions are grounded in reality. The ISFJ/ESFJs remind the team to consider how changes will affect the people involved, ensuring smoother implementation. The ISTPs and ESTPs focus on practical application, while the INFPs and ENFJs ensure that the purpose behind the decision aligns with meaningful values. Isn't it fascinating how, when all 16 types work together, no aspect of the problem is ignored? I have seen that when companies only engage certain types of thinkers, they unintentionally create blind spots in their decision-making. Imagine trying to build a company strategy without visionaries, or trying to execute a major initiative without practical-minded implementers. Have you noticed how businesses often fail, not because of a lack of good ideas, but because they either focus too much on vision without execution, or too much on execution without a clear vision? Could it be that the best solutions naturally emerge when every type of thinker is given space to contribute? And then there's the issue of who gets heard. Have you ever been in a meeting where the most outspoken people control the entire discussion, while the quieter but equally insightful minds remain unheard? I have noticed that introverted types, especially those who process information deeply, often come up with some of the most profound insights, but only if they are given the right time and space to share. What if workshops were structured in a way that allowed extroverts to lead the discussion while also giving introverts the time they need to fully form and articulate their thoughts? I have also seen how businesses tend to reward fast thinking over deep thinking. But isn't it obvious that not all problems should be solved quickly? What if, instead of prioritizing speed, we prioritized quality of insight? What if we made sure that every solution was not just a quick fix, but something that accounted for long-term sustainability, practicality, and human impact? Could it be that the smartest organizations aren't the ones that act the fastest, but the ones that think the most holistically? So the real question is, what if problem solving wasn't about choosing one perspective over another, but about blending them all together? Could it be that the most effective teams aren't the ones that agree the most, but the ones that know how to integrate differences into a single, well-rounded approach? And if that's true, isn't it worth asking, how much stronger could every business decision be if it wasn't just based on one way of thinking, but on the combined intelligence of all perspectives working together?